All your artwork actually has a bit of your DNA in it, doesn't it?
Yes.
So we're up on like the Red Bull cliff diving. And we're like, all right, Tim, you want to jump?
I thought it's now or never. Said she's happy to kind of come and help me go full time, and within 6 months I went full time. I just kind of remember being submerged in water that was like this colour. This is like the best feeling ever.
Do you know you were gifted at, or was it something you found out later in life?
No, I knew straight away. I would delay starting for hours because I was so afraid of how do I start this thing? People are coming to buy me as much as my art. She also got this amazing opportunity to put a few of us on the Opera House. That was really amazing.
Today we're here with a close friend of mine, environmental advocate, with the co-founder of CollaborOCEANS. He's actually been a finalist on Australian Idol and is now a very well-known Australian artist. In fact, if you've seen Sam's straws, you've seen Tim's artwork. It's actually on my straws. So, Timothy Johnston, thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Sam. It's really good to be here. I've never been on a podcast before.
Is that true?
I don't think I have.
Oh, wow.
So, this is my first.
Okay, well, we should have done this a long time ago.
Did you have a podcast a long time ago?
Yeah, not really. We're all very new to it.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
And we got the best background I think we've ever had for a podcast.
Thank you. I worked really hard on these two.
I think Tim's artwork's the only one I'm allowed to touch.
Yeah. I'll tell the client, look, it's okay. He's an Olympian.
We'll let that one swing. There's also, my first question, Tim.
Yeah.
All your artwork actually has a bit of your DNA in it, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It does. Well, it's definitely got my DNA because my fingerprints. But you're talking about my saliva?
Yeah.
I was like, what are you alluding to? Yeah, so I do find that saliva actually works better to mix the paint more often than water because it's more like a binder and so it smooths the paint out, whereas water can really make it dissipate. And so often you'll find me spitting in my paint.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's probably not really nice for people to come in and see that, but I try to do it when no one's looking.
Is that a unique thing that you do, or is that something a lot of artists do?
I haven't talked to heaps of other artists.
Is that one you're keeping under wraps?
Maybe. It's not the first thing that comes to mind to ask them, but okay. I could ask them. I'd say a lot of them would. Yeah, rather than running to the tap or grabbing some other medium or something like that. But yeah, that's something unique that I do. And funnily enough as well, I paint on the floor. So if you looked on my floor here, it's covered in paint. I call it my terrazzo, my paint terrazzo, because it's sort of like become an artwork in itself after 5 years.
It is beautiful. I know whenever we go for lunch or something, you've been painting. You've got like paint all over your hands and that.
Yeah.
It's really quirky.
Today, I'm pretty good. Yeah.
Something else unique. You paint at night, right?
Yeah. So I sort of paint all through the day, and then often because I'm working with my business partner, we're running the gallery and then other projects and like conservation things and initiatives. There's a lot of interruptions. So I find I'm not sure if you find this with sport, but you need like really focused time where you can get into like a deep thought zone and a flow state, and so I find I need that to become one with the painting, if that makes sense. It sounds a bit trippy, but I need to intuitively do it, and I find that something kicks in at a certain point, and then I'm doing it without thinking. I'm like faster than like assessing. So I find when it's quiet, when no one's around, that's like a good time for me to paint.
It gets you in the flow state. We find the flow state in sport. It's really everywhere. I even know when I'm working on something that I enjoy, you get into that flow state, time moves quickly. Yep. And that's where you paint your best.
Yeah, and you're enjoying yourself. You're actually not really, it doesn't feel like work. And I can't say the same for sport because I'm not an athlete at all.
Although we will get to your diving.
Yeah, okay.
It's definitely on there.
Yeah.
Is there a few things you do to get yourself into that flow state? Because I'd say it's quite a high performance state to be in. Like the stuff you create is incredible.
Yeah, look, a few things. I mean, it's a discipline like anything, and you do also treat it like a job because you're being paid for it. So you don't sort of go, I don't feel like painting today. It's not like that. You kind of just go, yep, I've got to get this one done. I'm excited to get into it. And when you realize all the other administration that's around, like doing other things, you're kind of like happy to kind of go, finally I get to go paint.
I get you.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So, but it is a bit of a struggle sometimes, but you've always got to plan the painting, always got to set it up. You really have to have a fairly clear idea, and a lot of my work, I'm like photographing. So like I'll get people to drone areas when it's aerial ocean abstract ones. I've got different collections, but often I just love like that aerial view. It's a little bit abstract, and I'm at heart like really love color, really love abstract work, and I think it's because it's more abstract work is more about the feeling that something is giving you, and color, how that drives that. And I think the water is so layered with color, and the feeling that we get when we're in the water, which probably is a connection point for you, I guess, like, you know, when you're in the water, there's just nothing like that feeling. So I'm really trying to get that feeling. And I find the feedback that people give me, like a lot of surfers and a lot of other people, like they'll come in and they're like, that is exactly how the water feels to me.
I thought the same thing. Like, I even brought a print from my mum's house because when I look at it, you just get that sense of relaxation and the same feeling you get when you're around the ocean. You just fully relax. And is that a feeling you hold like in your heart while you're painting, and you try to bring that to the canvas?
I think it's really subconsciously there, like it is at the basis of it, of everything. And it's like, you know, it's like this mountaintop you're reaching for. And like there's another artist, Indigenous artist that I painted with, and we talked about like every painting is sort of like having, as much as I know about babies, it's like having a baby.
Yeah.
So you kind of like, you know, it's got a lot of work, you know, you're creating something and then it has a life of its own. And it really, I sort of lost track with the question, but at the basis of my, is that feeling, and a lot of it was my childhood, like when we would go camping every Christmas, and all of my school holidays were spent by the water. And I just kind of remember being submerged in water that was like this color, and just thinking, this is like the best feeling ever. And there's no sound, or if there was, like, it was just, you could hear waves above. It's a really, like, you're weightless. It's kind of like...
It's the best feeling.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
scuba diving, you're underwater, you have that static noise in your ears, you can hear the ocean, you feel part of nature. That's like one of my most, like, sacred places nearly, that just feels...
It is, isn't it?
Safe, but also, like, nearly a pure state.
Yeah, it's like an underwater world. So that leans into some of my other work where there's so many beautiful things under there, and like we can't live under there because we can't breathe.
Yeah.
But when I do spend time under there, you realize like this is something worth like looking after. And so I think that's why I've coupled from the very early stages of my art career, I really wanted to do something positive with it. And so I think there's no point in, painting beautiful ocean scenes and then, not thinking about what it is to look after that for, the future of it.
You have got a very holistic approach, and we're going to get to all the sustainability stuff you do, because you have so much of it. And something you said to me actually was you didn't want to become a good artist and then give back. You wanted to give back while becoming a good artist.
Yep.
So I thought that was very inspirational, and you're definitely living by that.
Yeah.
But a question with the ocean, when you're painting
memory,
something, come again?
I said good memory, by the way. I remember saying that to you when we first met.
I do listen. Sometimes. No, with the ocean, with something that is kind of abstract, how do you know when you finish? Because you can always do, an extra dark bit here, an extra blue there. With an ocean painting, how do you know when you're done?
Sometimes you do wonder, and you keep wandering by it, but generally you just feel unsettled if it's not finished, and that can be a complicated number of reasons, and sometimes it's incorrect. It's actually finished, but generally, I'd say 9 times out of 10 you kind of get, like I was saying, it starts to pull away from you where it needs you to paint it, and then it's almost like it starts to tell you what it is, and then you don't need, like, it's sort of like saying I'm finished. And there is, I don't know,
like an intuition to it?
Yeah, there's some other weird things that happen too.
Tell me.
Being a singer, I find I'm not one of those people where I see notes with colour, but I do sing into a lot of my artworks, and I sing all the time when I'm painting. And I do find like it's like all of the colors have like this high pitched ring to it that are coming back to me saying like it's done, like it's singing. You know, when people say it's singing, you know, like that's sort of actually what it's like.
Wow.
Yeah. So it is. You're sort of coming behind the curtain, hearing a bit, you know, this sort of like unusual world that
it's fascinating.
live in. But that's what I find. Like it has its own beauty, and then it feels like also calm too.
Yeah, because when I look at it, I do get that relaxation feeling, and to hear the ways that you paint that in with the visualization, with that feeling, with the singing. So every bit of artwork has a bit of DNA, a bit of singing into it too. I've heard if you sing into plants, they thrive. So probably the same thing with artwork.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're beautiful, and I do. Like, I don't mourn them, like, going to the client. I really get excited, like, to give them to them. There's a couple that I would love to hang on to, but generally I'm really happy, like, that they're bringing other people joy. So it's, it keeps you going, like, on a wheel where you're like, let's do the next one.
And you weren't born and went straight into the artworks. You've done few different things in your time.
Yeah.
Did you know you were gifted at that? Or was it something you found out later in life? Really?
No, I knew straight away. Yep. I, from, like, age 3, I was sitting colouring in from a very young age, and just knew that I just loved art. I was always, you know, doing something like that. And then Mum said, when I was a kid, she'd find me sitting at my desk when I was 5, like when I first went to school, and she said, like, I told her that the classroom's too noisy, and I'm sitting there colouring in on my desk at home after school.
Because you just loved it.
Yeah, I just loved it. And I love colour. Like, I build the pictures with colour. Like, I don't build it with the image necessarily. The image comes together because I'm influenced by where the colour is. So I've discovered that about myself over time as an artist. And I was trained under a famous Australian artist, Max Waters, as a kid in 1988. So, so that was when I think Prince Charles and Diana visited Australia for the Centurion. What was it for the? Yeah, it was some big celebration. I'm trying to remember now, but that's when I started art classes. And my mum used to go to a pottery class, and so I saved up my pocket money, and I got to know there was an art class there as well, and they were all like over the age of 50 and 60. And back in the 80s, I could you could go to that because my mum was going along. And anyway, I put my $1 in for the paint and for tea and coffee, and I would sit there, and Max taught me how to like discover my own talent. So I painted till 92, and then did some art shows with the Musselbrook Art Prizes and stuff like that. So it was that was my sort of introduction to painting and wanting to be like a full-time artist. Yeah, it was really cool.
Does it feel like you're living your dream, having been a full-time artist now for some time and having it do so well?
Yeah, it does. It does feel like I'm living in a dream. I tried for quite a few years. Like I tried 2016 and tried a few other times, and I just couldn't seem to get traction like in an art career. And then my best friend Trina and business partner, she said she's happy to kind of come and help me go full time, and within 6 months I went full time.
Wow.
And that was a dream come true. And then she also got this amazing opportunity to put a few of us on the Opera House with an application, and then for World Ocean Day, and that was really amazing. So
I remember that night.
Yeah, you were on there as well.
I was on the Opera House as well.
So we shared that stage. Yeah,
that was incredible. That was the night of my first Olympic trials before I made the games.
Yes.
And we'd done so much work together. I remember we'd talk about it, and we'd look at the pictures of the artwork on the Opera House on a computer, and I never imagined it actually happening until we saw it.
Yep.
And I was just taken back.
Yeah, I still can't believe it happened. Because it happened in such a quiet period of life when the lockdowns and stuff like that. I rememero going, yes, this is unbelievable, and then thinking, there's no one here to see it. But
that's right, because we video it, luckily, so we have all the footage.
Yeah, we were there.
It was just after the lockdowns, nearly no one saw it.
Yeah, and I remember one of my clients from across the road from here, from the gallery, and he's like, I'm seeing your stuff on the Opera House, like, because he was driving home from work,
Yeah.
and not many
Wow.
people were going in and out
Yeah.
to work, so it was only those people, because no one was allowed to go out, like, socially, really, like, I think it was limited.
Yeah, certainly.
It wasn't fully locked down yet, because we had the big exhibit over at Taronga Zoo with Valerie Taylor,
Yep.
the shark diver, and so, yeah, and she became the patron of my work, and so I think, like, I was thinking about it. I think an athlete, like, has a whole team behind them to be successful, like most people do in any field. And definitely, like, there's all these different people that play these different parts, like whether it's, you know, the graphic designer or who's, like, doing the stuff for the projections, like for the Opera House and sales, and, you know, or the underwater photographers that I'm inspired to paint, like their turtles and whales.
Yep.
My inspiration comes from nature, but it comes from, I think, a group of people.
Yeah. And even the solo person, like when I'm diving, I'm up there on my own. When you're here, you're painting on your own, but it's actually a whole team behind you that elevates it and makes it possible. It's like you are painting on your own, but you're not your own. You have such a sophisticated, great team behind you that help push you and everyone forward.
Yeah, you have to
no one
remember
really
that.
does it alone.
No, I don't think anyone does anything alone, do they?
Yeah.
Like, maybe Albert Einstein. I'm not him.
Can't relate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and can you tell me about those times where you tried to get the ball rolling in art and it didn't work? Because there's so much resistance to achieving anything.
Yep. I think maybe all artists, this is a generalization. I think we all need someone to believe in us. And I think
We all do, just everyone.
Yeah, in general. And I think we're very critical of ourselves, and it's a hard road as an artist because there's a lot of knockbacks, you know, same as actors and musicians, I think. But, you know, as an athlete. But yeah, there's a lot of knockbacks, and so you've got to, you're wanting to enter into a career that maybe you're still developing a sense of what you're about and what you know, and your talent and everything like that. And I noticed I was good before I started full time, but when I was painting every day, all the time, I just kept on improving. And I just said to myself, and I think we said as business partners, like, there's just nothing I can't do. So if people give me a challenge, I'd love to do it. So I think that helped, like, shape overcoming challenges, and you know, there's a lot of juggling to start an art business, let alone a little gallery as well. And then I go back and forth from the States. So, you know, they're big dreams, and yeah, I'm so stoked, like, for the opportunities that I've already had, like, in the earlier part of my career, and I've still got big goals and dreams.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
And did you have any? Can you tell me about one of those major knockbacks, or a time where you were on the fence about whether you could go in full time and you took the leap, or what was holding you back?
Yep.
Because there's always doubt when you try to do anything new.
Yeah, so I thought, like, I tried a lot of other stuff where I thought I'd like to own restaurants and stuff like that. Like, I was sort of working in that kind of career.
Didn't you run like 40 cafes?
I was an account manager for like about 80 of them across New South Wales for like a coffee company and across Queensland. But yeah, and then I also like grew up in hospitality, thinking that I'll like own my own one day, and I thought it's a great business. I like,
you would be great at that.
Love people.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it just sort of was ticking a lot of creative boxes as well. But I realized like my deeper dream was art and music, and I feel like they're intrinsically linked. They're not separate. But yeah, I just really knew that I'll try and give it a shot in 2016. And so I started to paint and try and develop a collection. And then I started to go out and see if people wanted to buy it or at least host it in their stores. And just nothing seemed to really take off. And there's like a few things that you have to really organize, and you have to get yourself a website. You've got to like have a lot of your CV of art competitions and things like that, especially me being a self-taught artist, because I didn't go to university for it, or art college. So I think that was the challenge and the knockback that I found, like, I've done it. I only did it for a few months really. And then I tried it again in another place in Sydney, and there was like a lot of interest in my work, but it just, nothing seemed to kick off. And I thought, okay.
And what kicked it off for you then?
Well, it was really like when I finished work in coffee, and yeah, my best friend Trina said, like, I really believe that you are meant to be an artist. And so she's like, I want to help you, back you, and, you know, get some finance behind you and get some assistance and some business skill and stuff and assist you to kind of get going. And yeah, and that really took off straight away.
Good on you.
So it gave me the ability to kind of focus on what I needed to as well, and then develop that. But it also gave me confidence that, yes, I can do it. And maybe, I don't know, like, I'd have to sit and think about it, but maybe I wasn't trying hard enough. Or I maybe didn't know enough. Like, I didn't have the strategy. I think that's part of it.
When Trina believed in you, that's when you guys went into it together. And her nunchuck skills in the business section is amazing. So between your artwork and her business skills, there's no wonder you've done so well.
And she's a really good artist. Like, she's
Trina.
Yeah,
well, she's great at design.
She was great at art in school, and she like topped her classes in school, like for art and stuff like that. But she's also like a very good curator. So like, if I can't visualize something, she can already see it before I've even painted it or whatever. So it's really interesting. Like, she's got a skill that I don't have, but you know, I know that once I put myself in something, I can produce it.
Now, when you have an artwork, well, as an artist, how do you make your work more valuable?
Well, there's a couple of things. Like, art is a unique beast, but you need to be doing exhibitions, and you need to have I think it's called, trying to remember the name, but you need a proof of sale, and you need a number of sales to at the same price to show that you've got a set price at that value, and then you can also have them officially valued. And part of that goes into like, what is the quality of the work, the craftsmanship, and is that relatable to like other work on the market at the time, and then having an independent valuer paid to actually professionally value your work and then have certificates done. So that can help set a base mark for your work. And then, you know, also like, what are people willing to pay for your work, and what are you valuing your work with your time and like effort? And, you know, that can be as long as a piece of string, because there's some people who charge quite a lot, and there's some people who don't charge much.
Your first big sale for an artwork, was that a big moment of, oh, I can do this?
Yeah, it was actually a friend of mine bought one of my first pieces. I mean, I sold some work when I was a kid to my mum's friends and my dad's friends.
That's the hustle.
Yeah, but they and like, it was decent. It got framed and everything like that. And then when I went in competitions as a kid, like, some people bought some of the works that liked what I did.
Yep.
But like, I was just messing around. I didn't really know what I was about as an artist. I just knew that I loved art. And then, I mean, I sat under some different artists to learn some specific skills that can increase the value of your work, because the skill is in the work as well. So I think that's one thing. And then, I'm trying to think what were your other questions.
Yeah, because correct me if I'm wrong, but when we first met a while ago, I think your value per painting has gone up nearly double. So I'm wondering, how do you do that? Because to me, they're both amazing, but you as an artist has gone up in value. So how do you build that value as an artist?
I think, you know, people hearing about your work, like doing exhibitions, and then that can help set the new pricing as well. That if there's a lot of people wanting your work, like,
which there is.
Yeah. So when we met, I had about 7 serious buyers for each painting that I was selling. So it was in the window, it sold straight away. Then I'd have like a number of other people come in and seriously ask to purchase the work, and then either made a commission of something else or waited for something else to arrive that I'd done that they liked. And because I had such a strong response, that also increased the value of my work, because, you know, more people were seeking it and I couldn't produce it. So my price slowly grew.
And you actually grew up in Newcastle, where I did.
Yeah, so just in the Hunter Valley, not far from there. But I spent all of my holidays in Newcastle. My cousins lived there, and then in the Hunter Valley in Muswellbrook was like only like an hour and a half, 2 hours or something away.
And then I believe you did some mission work on was that on hospital ships?
Yeah, so I
Can you tell me about that? Because that's amazing.
yeah, so I helped with like a youth organisation that like takes medical ships up into Papua New Guinea, and so I did some fundraising for their first medical ship, and yeah, I did a little bit of work with like some youth in Nepal and like schools and things like that, and took supplies. And so when I was 19, I trekked off to Nepal and stayed there for 7 weeks, and I slept on like a wooden box in a little mud hut with a cow poo floor for a month.
No wonder you were okay sleeping on bubble wrap back there sometimes.
Yeah, so it was, we had to cook over a fire, and we hiked 9 hours a day. So that was really cool to do as a young person. I consider myself a little bit young still.
I was going to say, Tim's still a young person.
But yeah, so my dad was a minister, and my mum and my dad did a lot of work like in the community, and I remember my mum would take me to sing songs and do craft and arts with like a lot of kids who had disabilities in schools. And so I just like learned to be exposed to a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds, and appreciate people from any walk of life generally. And my parents were really like keen on me giving back. And so I wanted to do that from a teenager, and then I think that sort of came into me as an artist as well. Like I really see that like doing that in your vocation is really important as well. Like, and it only gives back to you anyway. Like I've gotten more back than what I've given, I'm sure. Yeah.
Because I was going to ask if that shaped your values, because you'd have to be one of the most genuine and generous people that I know.
Oh, thanks, Sam.
No, seriously, yeah. Like,
yeah.
Whenever I need help with anything, Tim's like, yeah, we'll sort that out. We'll do this or this.
I do like to help. I think my parents were the same, so that's what they did, and I modelled it off them. Yeah, they always like to, I'm sure I could help you with that.
Yeah, even some of the most random requests. Oh, Tim, I'm building the website. Can you help? Yeah, we can help with that. We can.
It's a nice way to network
Tim
with
steps
people
in for the photo shoot of Sam's drawers. I'm like, this man will do
I'm on the
anything.
website, right?
Yeah, you still are.
I couldn't do the backflip though, I must admit. Like, not
that's
on the
right.
sand.
Although there's a funny stitch up I did to Tim. I invited Tim to the cliff diving, and he didn't know I was going to make him jump.
So did you plan that the whole time?
Well, I didn't think they'd let you jump.
Right.
Yeah.
So you were hoping?
I was hoping they would. And I knew they were going to let me jump that day. Mm-hmm. But I knew you'd come along, and I thought maybe we could get you the jump. But I wasn't sure.
I remember seeing when I first met you, like a lot of your videos, and sometimes you would take people out like to the diving pool and make them jump off.
Yeah.
Sounds like a pirate. Walk the plank.
Yeah.
And I knew at some point, I was dreading it, that I'm gonna like have to turn up and jump either off the 10-foot platform or the 3 meter, which is not really that much. And I've jumped off bigger when I was younger, but I did hurt myself. So
it was so funny. So we're up on like the Rebel cliff diving, right in the edge, and we're like, all right, Tim, you want to jump? You didn't even have any swimmers.
I thought it's now or never, and I thought I don't have any swimmers. And then so I asked Hamo if he would lend me his, and for some reason he wouldn't. And I think it's because he was going to dive again or something.
Okay, yeah.
Or maybe he was scared of losing them. Anyway, I thought, okay, well, I'll just jump in my jocks. And then I realized I had a big hole in them as well. And so I was like thinking about multiple things. I was like, okay, I'm up very high, Sydney Harbour. There's like getting
Sharks.
down. Yeah, not flashing anyone, and then like if I'm gonna get eaten when I hit the bottom, and then getting out.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
And walk of shame all the way back up
to get your clothes.
Yeah, to get my clothes. So yeah.
But you didn't think twice.
No, I just like I have to do this. Like when do you get asked to jump into Sydney Harbour? Like I don't think will they have
Rebel cliff diving.
Yeah,
platform.
will they have that again or?
They had it recently, but it's such a crazy thing because they need permits to build it. It's only there for a certain period of time, and normally no one's allowed to jump from it.
I don't know how that happened.
So somehow we got through security and got Tim jumping.
I can tick that off my bucket list.
Oh, that was insane.
I've dived, 10 meters into Sydney Harbour.
Did we jump together? I think we jumped together.
We did. And I remember because you said on the count of 3, just put your hands up in there and then we'll just pin drop. And you said you were gone. I didn't even get to count to 3.
Oh, I was off. Now, you do a lot of sustainability work. You founded CollaborOCEANS, which I'm a part of and proud to be a part of. It's collaborating for ocean health, which is amazing, and the Youth Ocean Carnival. What motivated you to give back along the way and not just when you made it as an artist?
I think the art world can be a little bit isolating because it's very elite in a lot of ways. Like the higher you want to go, because artwork can become so valuable. I think it's for, elite people to purchase those kind of like high-end works, and every artist would like to kind of have great value in their work. And I'm reaching, to new heights, like for the beauty of my work, but also the value of it. And I think that can be a little bit of a false world, like, because, it's not just about like getting things. Like, I think it's also about like the community that you build and about like what you're doing for that community and for people. And so I just knew in the beginning that, and me and my business partner Trina, we said like, well, if we're going to work together in a business, we really want to make sure that like we're committed. And my passion that I advocated for, I said I'd really like to do something for the ocean. And so we talked about the concept of like getting some underwater photography and painting turtles and whales. And so the first exhibition that was planned for over in the States, and due to the pandemic had to come back and it was on hold, is all these turtles and whales. So it was called Souls of the Seas. And
wow,
like turtles are just like beautiful. Like when you look in their eyes, like you sort of see, they look like galaxies. I'm not sure if you've looked
they
up
are
close.
beautiful. And that turtle of yours, Scooter, is actually on Sam's straws.
Yes.
That's your turtle.
Yeah, so Charlotte Piho is like a world-renowned photographer and like an underwater photographer, and I used a lot of her imagery, and another guy named Karamilia from Hawaii, and painted some baby humpback whales. Yeah, so yeah, that was good, that trip to Hawaii. So we'll talk about that. Yeah, and so it's been amazing. Like I had never painted anything realistic. Like I remember as a kid trying to do with Max Waters this little polar bear, and all I knew was to paint white, and 2 dots for the eyes. And I was like, why isn't it looking like a polar bear in the snow?
sheet of paper with a couple of dots.
That's like after all this paint, that's all it looked like. And so anyway, fast forward, and here I am in LA and painting. I just gave myself a goal. So there was a friend of ours who lent this studio in Los Angeles. So it's not far from Malibu, and it's this private airport where everyone flies their personal planes in and out. And so I just had this beautiful studio there, and as a gift, the first one I wanted to paint, he loved turtles, so I thought, well, this is perfect. And I'd never painted anything properly like that before, so I just put my all into it, and then found this gift that I had for painting turtles, and then it spread to whales, and I tried a few other ocean animals and it didn't work out, but like
turtles and whales.
Yeah, so I stuck to turtles and whales. But yeah, I think like that sort of drew me in, and then it's just perpetuated.
And you do also a lot of work with government. Where did you learn how to deal with government, how to work with government? Because I do a lot of work with government now as well, and you were the one that kind of brought me into that world. The first government people I dealt with were with you.
Well, like to build around that picture, to your question, I wanted to build a community of artists that were giving back, and that's why CollaborOCEANS, which is creatives collaborating for ocean conservation, was formed. That concept was formed in Malibu, and when I was there, and then you became the youth patron, Valerie Taylor, shark diver and award-winning underwater photographer, etc. She's the exhibition patron, and then there's other people that sort of came into the picture, like Craig Parry, who's like award-winning photographer of Migaloo the white whale, and so this sort of seemed to be a way to advocate really well with people's profiles, but also like build a community. And I think the government really saw the opportunity as well, like that to bring artists to work with community really helps. And so I was just happy to lend my time, and I think I sort of just got caught up in it and found that the influence really helped like other people, like students, and so I just really wanted to get behind young people, and I saw your passion as well, like with your straws, and I thought like, well, we should be, if I want to make an impact, then I should really be helping people that are actually wanting to do something. And the younger generation really want to do something. So that's where I think I was inspired by you personally, and then wanted to see how I could maybe use my talent to assist.
Yeah, wow. Because I remember even 5 years ago, we were having meetings with just the local government about different ideas you had about different coloured bins so people could recycle better, and how we can compost. And you'd come to government with just a list of ideas to see what they can do. Like, who does that? You taught me how to do things like that.
Yeah, it was weird. Like, when I first moved to Mosman, they asked me, would I like to meet the local gallery? The mayor said, would you like to meet, the Mosman Art Gallery or the sustainability officer? And I said, could I meet the sustainability officer? And so I just was looking for a way to make a difference in what I'd chosen to impact, because I think the art will it will tell its own story. You know what I mean? Like, if people like the work, they come after your work. And so I think it's just about doing great work and then also like trying to do something good and positive. So yeah, that's kind of, I kept it simple. And I think other artists are looking for an opportunity to be able to give back. And sometimes there's not an avenue for us to be involved. Yep. And so that's where I think I wanted to involve with the government, like to see more people have an opportunity to do it.
We've done a really great job of that.
Thanks, Sam.
Giving back the whole way, even helping out with stuff we've done over the years, and the government work is super interesting, and it lent into the stuff that I do today, and just realizing too that if you have an idea, you can just go out there and do it, because that's what you do. Like Youth Ocean Carnival, another sustainability project that we co-founded, that went on to do amazing things. Like, it was literally an idea.
It's weird how like it starts there. Yeah,
like an idea that's just acted upon over a long period of time.
Yeah, and I think like yourself, you've been involved in so many things. Like, you helped with Clean Up Australia Day since you were 17, and the Starlight Foundation, and all these other amazing groups. And young people can be inspired by that. So I think your desire to sort of see more young people get involved, I thought, well, that's great. I'll help you do that. Like, And you're like, well, you said I won't do it unless you guys help me. Yeah. Could you help me?
that was. Yeah,
I guess I have no choice.
That was one of the random calls to Tim.
No.
Hey, Tim, can you help with that? Yeah, I can help with that.
But it's been a great journey. I think my life without those things would be a lot less exciting.
Well, you do so many things outside the art. Sometimes I wonder where on earth you paint, because you're out all day doing stuff like giving back, giving talks here,
jet skiing.
Yeah, having a jet ski every now and again, and then I forget. Wait, Tim's actually a full-time artist.
Yeah, it's true. I think people do forget that. They think a lot of people ask me, "Oh, do you just drink red wine and and paint, and get inspired?" I was like, I don't think anyone does much at all when they're sitting around drinking red wine. Yeah. I definitely it's work, and I'm like in the zone. Coffee, yes, but
we love a coffee.
Yeah,
we love a coffee.
I've come across instant. My all my coffee friends would hate me for saying that I drink instant coffee, but when you are painting late, that's kind
of
the
coffee shops are closed.
Yeah. So I make my own sort of Dare iced coffee. I use vanilla, maple syrup, instant coffee, ice, and shake it up, and then put some milk.
Sounds great.
It's if you can't get to the store.
Because I always
at 1 a.m.
I always think of Tim as like the Batman of art. Like going in doing the work at night. Yeah.
Yes. And then all of a sudden I've built a car.
It's like I come in one day, there's some blue on it, and then I come in a few days later, and I've been working with Tim during the day, so I know he's not painting during the day.
And you're like, it's finished.
And it's done. And I'm like,
this is it.
Wow.
Yeah, I get my best work done then too, because it's quiet.
Your own time.
Yeah. And I put music on or whatever, and I just zone out. I love it.
Now, you sell your artworks to a lot of very successful people because, they're a premium product. Is there something you've seen in these very successful people, or traits that you've noticed that have made them so successful?
Don't know. I think they're genuinely either really hungry for success, or they're just really disciplined and good people. I think generally most of my clients are pretty nice people, and I think they just love what they do and they're disciplined. So I don't know. I don't ask all their tricks of the trade, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I find they're just nice people, and they have a goal and they go for it.
When they give you an artwork that you need to make, have you ever felt a large sense of pressure, or do you not feel that pressure anymore because you've got so much experience?
I used to have a lot of anxiety in the very beginning. Yeah, I like hyperventilate,
Really?
Sometimes like I would delay starting for hours because I was so afraid of like, where do I start? Like, how do I start this thing? It was just like the pressure of like getting it done. And I was like, I'd be like looking at ways to like not start. But that's not the case anymore.
I guess so many people could relate to that on any task.
Now it's from 3 years of COVID and watching very short reels that I have such a short attention span that I can't stick to anything now.
Yeah. So
I think everyone has that.
you did feel that pressure when you first began.
Yeah. So I think, like I said, I had a lot of self-doubt in the beginning. So I needed someone to believe in me. And it's not like that just all disappears. You still got to have, like, you've got every bridge to cross, like every artwork, until I'm much more confident person today, like in what I do and how I do it. And, that's a discovery process. And that's like, this gallery's been here for almost 5 years, which most small businesses fail in the first 2 years. So I think that's pretty good in a pandemic to have like a gallery still
to
going.
make it out, certainly.
Yeah. And recently sold a work for charity for $37,000. It raised like, I think, $15,000 more than its asking price. So that was really cool. Like,
Was that for Taronga Zoo?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're also on the fundraising board for them.
Yeah.
Tim has a lot of side quests. So Tim's like the king of the side quest.
I think I just get roped into stuff.
Tim just says yes.
I'm a yes man.
All of a sudden he's auctioning.
Do you know
off
how to
his
say
work.
no? Yes.
Dude, that's so funny. And then once you did start the artwork and brought yourself to the canvas, did you get into the flow of it?
Yeah, you work it out. And, often some of the most unusual requests or ones that I thought, I'm just not sure how we'll do this. I've never done this one before. Some of them turn out the most beautiful. Yeah, so I think there's like some golden eggs that happen over the time. And they sort of stand out to you and you're like, wow, how did I do that work?
Yeah.
And reverse engineering it, like going back and people requesting ones in that similar style or collection, like you've got to get back in your own, how did I do that?
I get you. Like if you were doing a lot of turtles and then you had to do a straight up ocean, you've got to like re-get yourself into the ocean.
And then
mode.
abstract and then a flowers and then like I did a bull for someone. And
wow.
Yeah. So I've done like a few different things.
Have you ever told someone no when they've asked you for a specific artwork that you either didn't want to do or didn't think you could do?
Generally,
Jim said yes.
Only someone who said as a joke that they wanted me to paint them in the nude, and I said no way.
Really?
Yeah, but that was a joke.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a joke, I think.
No,
I don't generally get any unusual requests that I can't paint. I haven't. I think because people generally like to choose something that they've seen of mine already, so they try to choose within what they know of me. So yeah, I don't get any weird requests.
Yeah, I've always been curious. Because you do artworks that people order.
Yep.
So I'm like, I wonder if anyone's ever ordered something that Tim's been like, yeah,
can't do it.
no thanks.
Like I think someone did order like a portrait of someone that I said, oh look, at this time I haven't spent enough time in portraits to kind of warrant me doing one now when I'm really busy. So I did say no once to that, but would I love painting portraits? Yeah, like I like people, but that's a certain other skill. And I think if you ask me to do something, I'm always going to put like my spin on it.
Yep.
So that's kind of like where it goes, I guess.
Now, building the team around you, because you have got a very successful team that help bring everything up and you're the arrowhead of it all. How did you build that team, build that foundation that allows you to put your focus into your artwork?
I would say it's because I have such a skilled business partner.
Tim's like,
who knows how to build team.
Ask Trina.
Yeah.
She certainly does.
I would say like I've been learning from her, but
even
yeah,
knowing to
I'd say it's
partner up
her,
with
her
someone
skill.
that covers your basis is a smart move.
Well, I think like yes, I just said yes to her believing me, saying that she was going to help me. Yeah, I guess, but like we have partnered together, and we do like assess every like painting I do, and like talk about like the client, and like work out like what, what's the best for the client. And I think that's really how we've been successful, is like what's the best for the person, and then like I think have the right values in the beginning, and you can stray from those, but like you try to stay true to them, which is like we really want to work with people that we like, and we really want to have a great time and have a good experience. And if that's not happening, then like we want to make sure it does. So I think those are like things that we really like aim to reach for.
Because you've got a great relation. Whenever I see any customer come in and I'm here, you talk to them, you spend time with them, you have a great relation with all your customers. How important are those relations in the art business?
Yeah, I think that's a massive part of it. Like people are coming to buy me and as much as my art, and they want to buy the story. And I was thinking about like, growing up as a minister's kid, and like the story of a creator, and
wow, I never thought about that.
And like
That's powerful to me.
Yeah. So I was thinking about it like last night when 3 a.m. when I was painting, actually,
when you
because
didn't
I
have
knew
my
we were
list of
having a chat
questions.
today. Yeah, I was like, where's my questions? But I was just thinking, I was like, that's a little bit similar to Sam. That's similar to me. Like, the creator wants to create something of value, and wants to create something with true story and meaning that's like personal to them, that has connection with others. And how do you kind of bring people in that where they have a great experience and they feel like part of everything. And I think that's because of my background in that, like, and my dad being a minister and stuff, like, I think that's actually already innately in me, and that's part of my story. So, and if you look at content in, people are really listening out for what is the story, what's the personal connection.
Stories people can connect on.
Yep.
And that really...
Yeah. Sorry.
I was going to say, that really resonates with me, because just as you create your artworks, I create content as a full-time job, and it's a creative process, and it's making something, which I get so much enjoyment out of. It gives me like that sense of achievement every time I create a video, and I suppose when you create an artwork.
Yeah, and you like speak to the client and they're part of it, and we're like, wow, we did that together. Like that was your influence, my influence, and this is what happens when when I paint what you've asked for, and so it's kind of like a nice relationship, and it's not so lonely. Like, with galleries where they show your work, you do get to meet the clients, but it's a little bit more removed, and I think that's why through my hospitality background and other stuff, like I really like connecting with people, and I thought, me and my business partner thought like this is a great way for me to sell, is that people get to come and meet me, they come and see me paint, and so I've really enjoyed it. Like, and I've had an invitation over to the States, and I'd like to keep scaling like my dream. So,
because you want to move to the US, you see that as your future. Can you tell me what's your dream there, and why the US?
Yeah, I think I've always been really fascinated with the US, and I know they've got like such a large market for art as well. And it's not about like the market of art, but it's a really creative country, and they're very entrepreneurial, and they've got like a real freedom to like scale. And I think because I dream big, I want to express, really big, and like in America, like I think there's a lot of opportunity to do that. And there's a lot of creatives, a lot of people who really appreciate creativity. A lot of the new, abstract artists and pop artists and things like that. Like there's been a long history of them in America, and I think they've really promoted the arts, and the galleries in New York and Los Angeles has been really, really growing. So yeah, I'm really excited to kind of focus on that. I've done a little bit of songwriting with some people over there, and so I'm able to do multiple things in different fields.
Gotcha.
So that kind of feels like I'm not like leaving one arm, like doing nothing. Like I love painting, but I love music as well. And I think I have an opportunity to kind of do both because all of them are going over there. Like there's a lot more to happen. Yeah. So.
Because you won Australian Idol, you actually made the finals for your singing.
Yeah. So I did that actually. I lived in Balmoral, so that's why.
Beautiful place to live too.
I knew I wanted to live here when I did that competition here, and I thought, oh, this is one of the best little beaches, and it's a cool little community. I'd like to live here one day. And so it's funny having a gallery fast forward like after 2009. So it's pretty cool, and it's been a great community. Like they're really supportive, but also it's just endless inspiration. There's 19 bays that have been like protected. There's a lot of heritage here. And so I think that as a country kid, like being in a big city, I've got like access to a lot of nature.
Yep.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah, same here. I love the ocean.
Yeah.
And so as a finalist on Australian Idol, how realistic is it? Like how much of it is
for TV?
TV magic versus what it actually is? Can you give me some insights?
Okay, well, I always say this to people, like it was a $21 or $22 million show. So like if you're putting that much investment, you need to kind of get a return on it and you need to plan that out. So I think they have a formula and then they have a number of ways of getting to, the goal. So everything has to be for TV. So everything's a little bit dramatized and they, I think they amp that up a little bit. And on the show as well.
Can you give me an example?
Well, I remember like it's just like they'd give you a location and they're like everyone be ready with this and then we'll turn up here and then you'll get instruction and so they keep you guessing and then artists like are very emotional so like where you're wondering what's going to happen and then also there's the pressure of like staying on the show and not getting kicked off. And you're like, it's my dream. And, so everyone says the same thing. And you really want it to work out. So I think that keeps the drama for the TV. But if it was just about singing and doing it well, like there's fantastic singers, it's more about like, I think building the story and the personalities and like catering to like the whole population and things like that. Personally, I think that's kind of what that show like does, whereas other shows really mentor the talent, like from what I've seen, like from The Voice and other stuff.
I've even heard on The Voice they don't actually
don't do it
any time or like they get a few minutes.
Yep.
And then they actually get like an outsourced vocal coach that's not their duet coach. I could be wrong. Allegedly,
we had the same.
That's what I've been told.
I'd say it's all pretty similar. Then they're pretty similar models, and it's fast paced. So you've got to keep up. But what I got out of it is like you learn about media, you learn about like the Australian music industry, you learn about the Australian television industry, and then internationally that translates. And so it's helped me with a lot of different industries to feel like quite comfortable, like, because afterwards I went and tried to do some extra work in Home and Away. And I remember walking with a backpack and...
so you got an acting job in Home and Away?
I was in the background in the cafe. And I walked back and forward a few times. I was hoping to get a little bit more, but I didn't. I got a McDonald's ad, which was well paying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was for a Shrek burger. I think the ad's still on there.
Shrek burger.
I think you can Google on YouTube.
I feel like I want to find
And my
this
audition because I did the beginning of, what was it? It was a show in the UK. Not The Voice. Not Britain's Got Talent. What's the other one called? X Factor.
Yeah.
X Factor. Yeah. So I did that. But I won a comp when I first went over there to do music, and I got offered £1 million contract with Psycho Records to be a pop singer. But I didn't want to be a pop singer. I wanted to do soul blues music. So
you turned that down?
I turned it down, yeah. Yeah, so they had a football manager who just moved into entertainment, and he did Amy Winehouse's after party for the Grammys when she won a Grammy, and he said, "Oh, look, you'd be great. Like, I'd love to manage you." And Psycho Records were there, and they said, "We'd love to give you £1 million contract and sign you up," because I won this other comp where I sang in front of 18,000 people, and did really well. So yeah, so it was really interesting. Like that was a major goal of mine to do music, and
You've done both. You music.
yeah, I
and
mean,
your art.
I tried, but I've still got pursuits in music, but they'll be different. And art was always something I always wanted to do. Never thought I could.
Yeah. Wow. I
So
find
some pretty interesting experiences.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting that you're just out there following your dreams. It's like I wanted to go and sing, so I went out and sung. So I wanted to become an artist.
Yeah, I
Like,
went and lived in England for almost
great.
3 years to kind of pursue it.
wow.
Yeah, so that was really eye-opening as well, and you just learn so much because you're young and impressionable, and you're putting yourself out there, and you're learning about like contracts, and you're learning about like recording and how does that work, and musical rights and all these kind of things. And so it's really informative, and I think that helps me be able to help other people as well. When I'm saying, oh yeah, I can offer to help, I kind of have learnt a little bit of lots of little things, and so it gives you some understanding. But you know, it's funny when you come to your own work and you don't have the confidence to go for it yourself.
Yeah. Wow.
And so now that I've had that help from Trina, my business partner, it's been really amazing to look back and say, like, now I'm happy, like what I'm doing, and I'm successful.
And what's your dream long term? Where's Timothy Johnston
I'd love
going?
I'd love to see my works at $1 million. Like, I'd love to see that
Per artwork?
Yeah, I'd like to, and but it's not just the value. I think of Monet's works, and he has done some beautiful big works, and there's some artists that have only done a few of them, and they're traveling the world, and they're amazing. I just want to paint some really beautiful works that really impact people. I think that just to kind of pull out of me like something amazing, like I'd love to like just keep working at that.
Yeah, I love
Just
that.
for my own enjoyment.
Oh, of course.
too.
Like, whenever I look at a lot of my goals, it's like not even just about achieving them, but the person you have to become to achieve them, and the process of getting there.
That's the challenge now.
Is the
I think.
challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look at it and go, I want to reach those goals, and
Yeah.
you're like,
I don't have the skills to do that at the moment.
Yeah, and I have to have more determination. I have to have more discipline. I have to have.
It can be
more
scary
skills.
when you look at all the things that are in between you and your goal.
Yeah,
But you just got to start chipping. Start chipping away.
but it's funny. You meet people who, like Valerie Taylor. I remember when you spoke at that exhibit in Mosman,
Yeah.
and Valerie was a guest speaker there too, and she was just at Trina's hairdresser, and so she said, oh, you should invite Valerie Taylor. And so she called her number, got her number, and then Valerie said, I'll give him 10 minutes of my time if he can get here in 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And,
Is that what she said?
Yeah. And so she was like, Tim, grab a bottle of wine, grab flowers from the gallery, go straight. I'm going to grab you and we're going to drop you straight to Valerie's house. And so I turned up to the door, and then
She would have loved you right off the bat.
she's like, you can stay. She invited me for dinner. She invited me to stay over.
And now you cook a dinner once a week.
Yeah. So yeah, it was
Shame it's lamb.
no butter, no cheese, no lamb.
No lamb. No lamb.
So yeah, it was been some lifetime friendships made in the last few years in this kind of, and all pretty spontaneous, I think.
And CollaborOCEANS, what is your goal for that? Because that's one of your ways of giving back sustainability for the oceans, and you've pulled some incredible people together.
Yep. I mean, I just sort of pulled a big thing of my own goal for the art in that small area. There's other goals I have, but with CollaborOCEANS, I would love to see me do more in America when I'm there, like for turtles and whales. There's a lot of people that really care about the ocean over there. There's a lot of like amazing organizations, and co-founding the Youth Ocean Carnival with you and with Cal, and seeing all this great young team come around it. There's a lot of young people around the world that care, and I think America has a big opportunity to do something because they're so influential and they've got like so much going for them. And they have a lot of great networks on the ground, like with their, Monterey Aquarium and all these like amazing organizations that if they're injected with artistic, inspiration, I think they could even do more. So I'd like to see what I could do, over there as well.
Good on you. Well, Timothy Johnston, thank you very much for coming on. I've been meaning to get you on for so long because we've been mates for a long time. We've done so much work together.
Yeah, I didn't know what we were going to chat about. Actually, one funny other story.
Please tell me. I love a good laugh.
Yeah, just for if you can fit it in. I I have a photo of when my mother made me a turtle costume, and it's a full body turtle costume.
Have you got it?
And I've got goggles and everything.
Find it.
Yeah.
I'd love to have a look.
So I was thinking, because we used to have a thing called Book Week.
Yeah, I remember that. And
Did
you
you
dress up
have
as
it?
your favourite character
Yes.
and go...
So I got dressed up as a few different funny characters. My mum was very creative, and she dressed me up as a turtle. That was my nickname as a kid, Timmy Turtle. One of my nicknames.
Timmy Turtle.
Yeah. So and I was looking through it the other day, and I was like, oh, because you said come with some stories, and I was like,
Please do.
there it is there.
Give me a look. So this is Tim as a turtle.
So if you swipe second as well, you'll see.
And
there's the front and the back.
I'm going to show... And that's painted.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
It looks like you've actually drawn the turtle. You have, right?
But I don't know. It's like a head stocking, or I don't know what it is. It's like a full wool body.
Yeah, it looks like you've got a balaclava with goggles, stockings, and the turtle. Oh, look at this one. Look at Tim.
Imagine sending your kid to school in 30-degree heat in that.
I'm just showing the camera. Wow, Timmy.
My favourite thing about that day is they used to give you a special little lunchbox that had a
Timmy
Vegemite
turtle.
sandwich, a Lamington, a juice popper, and something else.
I feel like in school when the teachers gave you a chocolate or something, or even one single lolly snake, it was like the greatest day ever.
Just give me food.
Yeah, and now I'm an adult. I like, can buy a bag of lollies, eat the whole bag and whatever. But at school,
Yeah.
one lolly snake, I was like, this teacher's the best.
So my mum was way before her time. She didn't
these
even
are
know what
great,
that
Tim.
meant then.
What a nice photo. So funny. You look at everyone in the background. This guy on the left looks a little bit envious of your amazing costume. He's like, Tim's...
There's actually a girl that I liked in the background.
Really?
Her name was Rachel, yeah.
Is it
She's
that
like,
one?
she's a pirate. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that was a good guess. She's just like the only girl in the background I can see.
Yeah.
She was a pirate.
I was like, how funny she made it into the shot.
Was she impressed by your
I don't remember.
turtle?
I don't remember. I'm sure people would have been impressed. I'm still impressed.
Timmy, that's so good. You were born for the turtle artwork.
I'll send you the photo.
Please do, yeah, because we'll put it on. Do you have any other funny stories before we wrap her up? I love a good Tim story.
That's probably one of the biggest fish that I've caught. That's
That fish actually...
flathead.
I thought these fish looked fake.
It's frozen.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
I think we froze it.
Oh, wow.
It's a flathead.
Even the tail's like frozen.
I just remember when I was 17 in Perth and thinking it was a fun idea to go swimming at night. I used to, like, a few mates from overseas, and we went swimming in the beach, and something swam past my leg.
Ooh.
And it like felt like sandpaper, and it rubbed. And apparently that's like a shark. And I think Western Australia is quite known for great whites. So
WA is like the great white shark.
Yeah.
Wow, so were you deep below your neck? Like,
yeah, we were just swimming out in the water at night.
Nah.
There's lights at Scarborough Beach.
I wouldn't be doing that.
And I just had no idea. I didn't even think
How
about
old were
it.
you, 17?
Yeah. And then I used to do that on the Gold Coast as well and swim at night. Like, we just thought it was normal. And
then you got...
I heard about sharks, but like, yeah. But there's a lot of sharks, bull sharks on the Gold Coast as well, isn't there?
Strays. We'd all be sharks. Then you go up near Northern Territory. You got sharks, crocs, and the Uakanji.
Yeah, well, I grew up in partly in North Queensland as well. So
Tim's been everywhere.
yeah, so I was like, you couldn't swim for lots of places because of the the Irukandji.
In the box.
Yeah, the box jelly.
Terrifying.
Yep.
But yeah. Thank you for coming on, Timmy.
Thanks for having us on.
It has been amazing, and I'm sure we'll get you on soon again after you kick some more goals, which you seem to be doing very easily. And your artwork, honestly, this is the best backdrop we've ever had for a podcast.
First podcast ever.
Yeah, I can't believe that. Your first one ever.
Yeah.
The first of many.
Yeah. Oh, well, hopefully you'll have me back.